Welcome. Got another guest to talk to. The DA is here, Collin Sims, and we're glad to welcome him in. We got a couple of things we want to ask him about. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Doing okay.
So we had a crime in Covington that happened recently, and I knew you were going to be coming in this week when I read the press release on it, and so I was hoping you could give some insight into what that was. It was a weird situation.
I'll tell you, first off, it's a guy who's not even supposed to be here. Okay, this guy gets a diminution of sentence from the Department of Corrections and gets out another one of these early release guys, and he is comes here as a quasi placement through a halfway house. Okay, this isn't even his home. This guy's got ties to the Latin Kings. Okay, and so here he is in our parish where he doesn't live or otherwise. He is caught breaking into a lady's house to try to rape these kids and has to get chased out with a knife, and he's arrested, I think, naked, hiding behind a dumpster. And why is he here? We have enough things to deal with our own as opposed to having people released early and sent to St. Tammany Parish to transition out with a guy who's got a horrific criminal history, a very lengthy criminal history. So, but Covington PD, phenomenal job, great leadership, great agency. Those guys work hard. They responded well and got that guy in custody very quickly. So we're very happy to have those guys.
All right, good. There was another one I was going to ask you about now. Of course, I can't remember what it was. Anything else? Bogalusa. We were going to talk about Bogalusa.
Bogalusa. One I could tell you, and again, I want to commend Bogalusa Police Department as well. These guys are underfunded, grossly underfunded and underpaid and underappreciated. These guys work very hard for Bogalusa, and they are really trying to beat back violent crime, shootings in that area. A young boy, 14 years old, murdered outside of a basketball game, and it's just, we know this stuff isn't accidental, but these guys are making arrests. They're on it. I've been in contact in the middle of the night with the mom, with the police officers, really trying to identify things, and my heart goes out for that family. We spent the group of us spent some time with them and kind of a little prayer vigil on Martin Luther King Day and balloon release, and it was really sad. But to also sit around other parents that had also lost children to murder, and so there is a rash of very young, hormonal, temperamental kids that are playing a dangerous game, and I don't think they appreciate human life and understand that the finality of the decisions that they're making. But we're aggressively pursuing those offenders, and I think the people of Bogalusa will see that we have spent a significant amount of time between us and state police of really doing our research and investigating very quietly. And I think that in the next couple of weeks, as I sit here, you'll say, oh, that's what he was talking about. You're going to see a response pull out of here. And we've already brought a group across the lake. Look, I'm a former federal prosecutor. I've got relationships across the lake. I've got relationships with agents as well. The U.S. Attorney's Office partnered with us. They brought a group of defendants into federal court. We charged a group with racketeering the other week, and there's going to be a few more getting a very the type of notice you don't want to get, which is congratulations, you're going to take a seat with about 20 of your friends.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit about caseload, because both with Warren and then you and I have spoken about this as well. One of your frustrations in the job you're in is getting people into court, and there's a limited amount of time, a small window. Do I have that right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Limited venues. And
Sure.
So how are we doing with that?
So across the district, so we have 8 divisions of court in St. Tammany, 2 in Washington Parish. We are afforded approximately 100 trial opportunities per year to move, and I think we charged the last couple of years, let's just say sub 3,100 felons per year. So the trials, you demonstrate you can go to trial, you demonstrate you're very good at it, which is why we get 40-year manslaughter pleas, 65-year pleas on crimes of violence, rape pleas in the same neighborhood. So we get pleas to crimes of violence for very high sentences because we've demonstrated that we're very competent in trial. So you use the trials to, A, if the case can't resolve, and B, as a point of resolution to say, we can't get to all of you, but we will get to some of you. You need to resolve your case. And if we are happy with the outcome, then we plead it out. And that's kind of weighted in availability of evidence, witnesses, and so all those things come together. But you can't try your way out of 3,100 cases a year when you have 100 trial opportunities. So you really have to effectively negotiate and resolve those cases. Focus on the crimes of violence, be reasonable in the non-crimes of violence, and really utilize those cases to effectively rehabilitate citizens, because in Louisiana, 50% of individuals who commit a felony commit another one. So we don't want to do our job twice every single time. So we also try to utilize our specialty courts, which those who complete our specialty court programs reoffend 8 to 12% of the time. So that's the trend, and that's what we want to see happen, so we don't have to do our job twice. We don't want to do 3,100 new offenders and then half of that again. That becomes a mounting issue. The hurdle has always been and continues to be, look, through 2019, we managed the increased caseload. When we first came in, we were charging, it's just like everything. If you've had 15, 17% growth in the parish over 9 or 10 years, then you're going to have 15, 17% of growth in your criminal dockets. And the structure and model hasn't changed. We just keep absorbing it, right? So we're charging almost 2 additional criminal divisions worth of cases on the back of coming out of COVID 2 years ago. And the hurdle with COVID is that we had to handle the new increase in volume, okay, which is that many more cases per year, which is about 400 more cases per year, with being shut down for 2 years and charging sub 6,000 defendants with felonies without the ability to have that trial date to force major cases to a head. So what happens is your victim cases become older, and so we're really trying to focus on those. So we're handling the new volume, which is 400 more cases per year, and every year we're eating into the backlog. It just takes you a while to dig out of it, and when you have 100 opportunities to move 3,100 cases per year.
Wow. All right. A lot of math in your job. I didn't realize that.
It's a lot of math, but I will say this and leave this with you guys, is that we have a 90% felony conviction rate. We accept 93 to 96% of the felony arrest, and we prosecute those guys. So we manage a very healthy felony conviction rate. And again, I know I've talked about this before, but of our most vulnerable victims, which are our children, those who abuse our children, we convict the abusers 95.6% of the time and have maintained it with almost a doubling of kids reporting abuse.
Okay. We're talking to Collin Sims, and we're going to come back, continue the conversation one more time right after this. Got a guest here, Collin Sims. We're talking about the DA's office, and I made no secret of the fact that I was a fan of Warren Montgomery even when he was years ago when he first won the job. I just liked the way he presented himself, and I liked what he had to say. I know you're a fan too. Obviously, this is a transition into a new time for the DA's office. Talk a little bit about life after Warren and how things are going in your mind in the office.
Let me touch on a couple of things. So. Yeah, Warren at the time in 2015 when he was elected, he was the good man that this parish needed, publicly embarrassed, prior DA federally convicted. And Warren came in, reestablished credibility. I came in with him, and we built a very honorable, effective, and professional DA's office with guys focused just on doing the job. No private practices on the side. We're focused on being public servants and doing the people's business and hiring a experienced, capable team, and merging them with other people who were there who were also experienced and substantive about doing the job. Moving forward, it's different. I look at right now, I have the privilege of serving St. Tammany, Washington Parish. This is my hometown, and it's an honor to serve as the acting DA during this period. It's an honor to carry his mantle. And I can tell you the biggest thing that I will continue to make sure happens in this DA's office, and that it's about the job, about being a good and effective public servant. We're going to make sure that people who run this place know how to do the job, that have been in the courtroom trying major felony cases. And Warren's motto was, if I'm trying to remember it correctly, it was experience, not connections, or something like that. I forgot. It was...
well, that's fine.
But basically, it was about, from the top down, you have to have done this. If you never walked into a felony courtroom and picked a jury and tried a case and prosecuted an offender, then you can't lead people who do. And on all levels within our office, I want the public to know that you have experienced people in every single department of this DA's office who have lived and breathed this job, being public servants. For 18 years, I've been a state and federal prosecutor. I want to carry Warren's mantle on, and that's what we're bringing into this DA's office. We're focusing on victim crimes, doing the job that the public hired us to do, and no one will exploit this place or anything else. And the last thing I'll say is I remind everyone, which is why Warren's administration and why I hope this administration is so important. You have two major convicted felons' names engraved on the outside of that Justice Center when people walk in every day. The most hypocritical thing of the world. Walter Reed, the former DA, and then Jack Strain, the former sheriff, who I personally prosecuted. And that's what our office will never be. I will never be a name on the outside of that wall of someone who's been previously convicted to publicly embarrass this place. And I hope that prosecuting, look, it's embarrassing to have to go prosecute your former sheriff who was powerful. That's not the pride you take in it. But I hope it's an example of a good DA's office who doesn't care about politics will stand up to a powerful bully if we have to, and politics plays zero role in this office, and as long as we're in place, it never will.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it at that, but powerful stuff from DA Collin Sims. We always appreciate your willingness to come chat with us, and I hope the rest of your day goes well.
Thank you so much for having me, and hope everyone has a great weekend.